league season's finished. We got a 1-1 draw with SC Dons, Forest Hill Park, who are obviously our opponents in the cup in a couple of weeks. Also, like to put things into context, we've unveiled over there. We've unveiled a new memorial to the International Brigade. It was a big Billy Bragg played. But it's been a huge day for the club. We set a record attendance around about the 1,400 mark. It's a big occasion. It could have been a big occasion for them. If they'd won, they'd have been in with a chance of winning the league. And at one point, they were winning. What were you thinking then?
I think we set our stall out as if we don't want them coming here to celebrate in front of our fans, really. Making it a day of it, and also it's a psychological thing, obviously going into the final as well, where we were relaxed in the essence of like, well, our season's done in terms of the playoffs, which was done sort of last week. So we can come in here, we could ring the changes, which I did. Have a look at a few players, give a few players minutes before the final. Obviously not give away everything, showing our hand per se. As I said, we just didn't want to lose, really. Of course, we want to win. We knew there was going to be a big crowd here. We didn't expect a record, but we knew it was going to be a big crowd. And at the end of the season, you want to end the season on a high regardless. It just sort of sets the tone going into next season of what could have been done. And as you know, across the season, I've often said, I think what's let us down probably is our record against the teams in and above us.
Yeah.
And if you can't beat them, as I said, at least, take a point. You know what I mean? And you can go again next week and maybe beat the teams in the lower half. So I think we've got better at that as the season went on. Obviously, our away form wasn't great, which is another thing we've got to look at. But all in all, as I said, the second half, I think we applied ourselves. We got in there. It wasn't too harsh on them, even though they were a much better team in the first half. I felt a lot of rotations, tucking a bit like when we faced Croydon earlier in the season.
Yeah.
So they got the fullbacks tucking into the middle, the midfielder dropping into different pockets and stuff. So we had to be very disciplined and sort of ride the wave. And to be honest, we conceded off a transition, which is again disappointing, isn't it? Yeah. When you set up for a corner or a set piece, you're hoping obviously you make the right decisions, because especially if you're the last man, if you commit, they're through on goal, and it's not something you like to see at this sort of level. But listen, our heads didn't go. Second half, I think we stepped it up. I don't know if they were in tune in terms of the other scores from elsewhere, but I thought we was definitely pushing on to try and win it, and then just a little bit of quality, which we've often discussed, in that final third, that through ball, that first touch going in through on goal, big save at the end, from Lewis. But listen, it's there, I say, for the cup final, because listen, I've often told the players, for what we have, when we're applying ourselves, playing to what we are capable of, we can beat any team in this league. So we don't go into any game with any sort of fear, regardless of what players they brought down from what level. We don't really care. We've got players who can play a high level as well. So it's just about having that no fear and just applying to the game plan. And I think that's what we try to do as much as possible.
And our game away at theirs was very close as well. We were in the lead, if I remember rightly, and lost by
contentious.
Yes, of course it was a contentious decision. Yeah, so I mean, quite evenly matched. But as you say, like, they were obviously a team that was set up to play on transition. We seem to be passing it around the back quite a lot in the first half, trying to get them out.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it was a bit too slow, because what happens is a good team like this, they set traps. So by the time the ball has gone into our fullback, that's where their trap is, that's their trigger. And then Junior was having a bit of trouble sort of playing that forward pass, so we were getting caught. So what I would like, and what I was telling them at half time, we just got to move the ball a little bit quicker, and then we can get in around the sides. Because as I said, a lot of these teams, once you get into the final third and you test the defence, you can get at them. And we saw that enough times. Cam got in a few times, Andre was getting in, Noah as well. And then it's can you produce that bit of quality, isn't it? That's going to come into a goal. But as I said, when we got it to 1-1, I think obviously we settled a bit. We knew, obviously with the bench that we had, with Fred coming on, Louis coming on to hold it up for us. So we had a lot of options off the bench as well as coming in. So all in all, you could probably say a fair result, because at one point it was a basketball game, so it's getting frustrating from our side, because we've got to try and control the game a little bit. We lost it, they lost it, we lost it, they lost it. So, we need to be a little bit better in that aspect, especially we get to the cup final. We want to have a little bit more control of the game, especially on a 4G surface. So it's something obviously to take away from. They'll take away a few things from this, so will we. And we'll obviously go again in 2 weeks. But we go in there confident. As I said, we've always been confident, once obviously we've decided in terms of having a game on a Saturday, potential attendance like this, and we could have missed out on all of that for a random Tuesday night. And if it did end up on a Tuesday night, for me, it just would have been an extra sort of league game, really. You know what I mean? At least now the day everyone can have the day, get there. There's tickets on sale, so we can have another day out and and try and make history again.
Yeah, and I mean most people will know this, but yeah, we need to book the tickets online because there
That's
aren't any
correct.
tickets on the day, so you can get those now. Um, any news on, I guess, Sam, who's got kind of like the one who didn't play today? Who
Yeah, so
you'd hope?
Sam, Ross, James
Josh,
G,
yeah.
a few of those we're gonna have to see. Could be too soon for some of them, because, like I said, when you've got potentially like 24 players available to pick from, the last thing you want to do is take a 16 and have a couple breakdown in the warm up
Yeah.
or on the bench. It's just a waste, especially for a cup final. So we're gonna have to make obviously a big decision. Obviously, we listen to Kaz, and and obviously we'll see in terms of what our game plan is. But there is competition, as you see with here today. We left Jake out again today
Yeah.
just to see it. Andre give him some minutes, Lewis
Yeah.
some minutes as well. So the competition is fierce, and once we decide obviously the game plan we're going to go with, then we can work out the bench. But either way, we're going to come with a strong 16. And like I said, we've been there before. Cup finals, I think we've only lost one. I think from my time, I think that was against Catholic. So we've got a good record.
Right.
If it goes to pens, I trust Jack. To make some saves, but we're going there for the win. As I said, 4G surface. If they play how they played today, literally with a mid block, that gives us time on the ball. So then it's about us finding the pockets and playing through the lines, and then attacking their back four with the pace that we got, really. And I think that can work. So. So we look forward to it. As I said, we thank everyone for coming out today. We thank obviously the Dons, or Forest Hill, should I say, for their support as well. Made it a great atmosphere. Record attendance. We're broken again, and as I said, the club's only going to keep growing. We've had 850 this season, 950 this season.
Yeah.
As you say, the brigade, the memorial. I was here earlier, and you can see the amount of people that got here earlier. This is what our club's about. The foundation of it. The anti-fascist signs that we had during the game as well. So I think our club's only going to grow next season. So it's onwards and upwards. And like I say, if we can finish the season with a trophy, the women's team in a final with a trophy as well, it's a great end.
All right. See you at Barking.
Thank you.
Cheers. Cheers, Jeff.